Hi there traders, this is Steve Miley for FX Explained and our regular MacroWatch feature looking at markets over the past week from a geopolitical and macroeconomic outlook and taking a look at what we've got coming up in the week commencing the 6th of April. Well, markets have certainly started to calm down and got into more consolidation themes in here over the past week. We're not saying that markets are back to any kind of norm in here, but compared to the very volatile activity that we saw throughout the start of March, through the whole of March, late March in here, and then into early April last week, saw more of a consolidation themes. So if we look at the macroeconomics and geopolitical aspects first of all, COVID-19 clearly continuing to spread, and we've kind of seen a focus shift slightly away from Europe. Europe not quite the epicenter in here. Maybe the epicenter now shifting to the US and developments that are going on in the US, although clearly we're still seeing a large number of cases and deaths on the rise in Europe. If we look elsewhere in here, the global lockdown has taken more of an aggressive form in here throughout Europe, certainly through many US states and increasingly throughout the globe. We've also seen in here the data started to be impacted. 2 weeks ago, we saw the jobless claims data from the US have a record number of 3.3 million. This last week, we saw the jobless data in here, jobless claims data come in at 6.6 million. That's nearly 10 million Americans filing for unemployment in the past 2 weeks. And also started to impact into the employment and unemployment data. Unemployment in here jumped up last month, and we also saw the 113 consecutive months of adding jobs on the non-farm payroll data. We saw that streak ended with 701,000 jobs lost in March. That likely to spike a lot higher, clearly, from those jobless claims number that we've seen over the past 2 weeks. There was a rumour at the end of last week of an OPEC Plus meeting being on this Monday. However, those rumours have now been quashed, and it looks like that a meeting is going to be delayed potentially later this week, and we'll speak about that shortly. But that did help the oil price and some stocks in here rebound at the end of last week. Let's take a look at the global financial market developments in here. Well, stocks in here gone more, as you see, into the consolidation theme. We're still seeing wide ranges, 3 to 5% swings on the major stock indices. However, compared to the big sell-offs that we saw in March, we've had small bottoms put in, small bases put in on markets here on the S&P 500. And you see the blue box in there. We're expecting more of a consolidation phase in here, at least going into this week, but certainly with a slightly negative tone. Equally here, you can see the German DAX in here, a base being put in, but the market a week close to last week and into early April. So we see a negative theme, but more in a consolidation theme, not looking for anything like those plunging losses that we saw throughout March. On the FX side, we saw that very strong US dollar surge with the liquidity crisis back in through the middle of March, and then a counter trend from that we saw 2 weeks ago. But this week we have seen the US dollar start to strengthen against most currencies again through late March into early April. And the main casualty of that dollar strength has been the euro. So again, the euro got smashed through mid-March down to through 107. And we did get that strong rebound in here going into the end of March. But then last week, euro weakness coming through against the dollar, partly to do with dollar strength, but we've also seen the euro weaken against other major currencies in here over the past week and looking very vulnerable again. On the gold side, if we turn to the commodity space, gold had a surging rebound a couple of weeks ago, gone more into again a consolidation theme, dipping back lower, but rallying again in here as we've seen stocks look vulnerable at the end of last week. So gold again pointing back higher. And on the oil side, the oil future did probe below $20 in here over the past week or so. We did get that bounce at the end of last week on hopes of this talks between Russia and between Saudi Arabia at this OPEC Plus meeting. The hopes were for that to come through on Monday. It looks like now going to be delayed. So maybe going into the beginning this week, we'll see this rebound maybe undo as we've had a delay to the OPEC Plus meeting. And on the copper side, base metal side, the rebound that we saw the prior week starting to fade in here, and base metals, including copper, looking vulnerable again. Let's now turn our attention to what we've got coming up in the week ahead, beginning 6th of April. Well, we have this potential OPEC Plus meeting, which could be critical. A higher oil price could create some stability on the stock markets and help overall in here with the overall stability across financial markets. Although there obviously is a clear lack of demand for oil, but maybe the cut in supply could help stabilize markets elsewhere. The COVID-19 global spread and lockdown is going to be a key feature to continue to monitor this week, and how it is impacting on the economic side of things. And on the central bank side, we do have FOMC minutes from on Wednesday from their last meeting. It'll be interesting to see what was discussed back at that meeting. And we also, please remember, it's Easter next weekend, so European and US markets are closed next Friday for Good Friday, the 10th of April. So on the macroeconomic events side, nothing really of note going into the beginning of the week. It's a fairly light calendar week in here to start off the month. We do have the RBA interest rate decision, not looking too much from there. We've mentioned the FOMC meeting minutes. US jobless claims are going to be critical in here again to see how big that number potentially is for a third, maybe consecutive week. We do get the Canadian employment report also on Thursday. And then please remember, Good Friday, European and US markets closed. I'm going to wish you all a great trading week. I'm going to wish you all safety and out there. Keep yourselves safe, guys. And please do follow us on our FX Explained YouTube channel and come back for us for our next Macro Watch next week. So traders, don't forget to catch us on the next FX Explained Macro Watch and all the great content on fxexplained.co.uk.